Since it's Earth Day, I figured it would be a good opportunity to talk about how we could use Home Assistant to make things better for the bigger smart home we call Earth, and at the same time, save ourselves a little money. And we're going to do that by automating the boring stuff. Welcome back to SlackerLabs. My name is Jeff. One of the reasons I got into automating the boring stuff in the first place is I wanted to eliminate all of those repetitive tasks we seem to do every day. You know, like turning on light switches, or reminding our kids that it's time for bed at the same time as we did yesterday. But another reason is I wanted to save some energy and money as well, because creating energy is resource intensive and expensive. So when Brian over at Automate Your Life approached me about joining the Energy Challenge, I said, heck yeah. The Energy Challenge is all about challenging ourselves to find a way to leverage the smart home technology we all love to reduce our overall energy usage. And at the end of this video, I'll tell you how you can join me and the Energy Challenge so that together we can show the world just how much energy we can save. But first, let me show you 3 ways that I'm using Home Assistant and smart home tech to save money and reduce energy usage in my smart home. One of the first things I did when setting up my smart home was automating my porch lights, because we would either forget to turn the porch lights on when it was dark, or realize at 3 p.m. the following day that we had forgot to turn them off when we got up. And at that point, sunset is only a few hours away, so why not just leave them on? So by using an automation to handle turning on and off those lights, we didn't have to worry about remembering or forgetting. But since that first automation relied on sunrise and sunset to turn those lights on, those lights would be on for at least 8 hours every night. And with two 60-watt bulbs using 120 watts per hour, it was costing me at least $28 every year to run those lights. So recently, I swapped out those 60-watt bulbs with some Govee LED bulbs that use 10 watts per hour. And based on my current energy costs, that dropped the cost to run those lights 8 hours every night to $4.67 a year. That's a savings of a little more than $23. But the reality is, those lights don't need to be on for 8 hours every night. I just have those lights on every night just to make sure that if somebody walks up on the front porch, they'll be able to see or at least be seen. But we could use a battery-powered motion sensor to control when those lights turn on, eliminating the need for those lights to be on 8 hours every night on the off chance that somebody walks up. And after doing that, the average time that those lights come on every night is about 20 minutes. And if it wasn't for those neighborhood cats that seem to stop by each night, we could probably get that time down to 0 on most nights. But in any case, if those lights are on for only 20 minutes every night, that only costs me 20 cents a year, bringing our yearly savings so far by just making these 2 simple changes to $27.80. And we can use a similar pattern inside. These Aqara motion sensors are really handy at automating indoor lights because they have both a motion sensor and a lux sensor that can measure the brightness inside the room. My living room is surrounded by 4 large windows, and during the day it's typically bright enough in there that we don't need artificial light. But most of the lights in that room are lamps, and we would typically get up before the sun comes up. And then, of course, when it got bright enough you really can't tell that those lights are on, and we would forget to turn them off. And with 3 60-watt bulbs, that's using 180 watts of power every hour. Swapping out those 60-watt bulbs with LifeX color LED bulbs allows us to automate those lamps and reduce our energy usage for the 3 lamps to 33 watts per hour. With that reduction in watts, it means that the cost to light the living room per hour went from 2 cents an hour to just fractions of a cent. Meaning now, if those lights are on for an average of 3 hours every day, our yearly cost has gone from $15 a year on the old 60-watt bulbs to just 9 cents a year on the LifeX bulbs. But with this Aqara motion sensor and lux sensor, we can monitor the light level in the room and make sure those lights come on only when they absolutely need to, which could eliminate even more energy usage. And lastly, I've talked about in previous videos how I use Home Assistant to remind us to move our clothes from the washer to the dryer.
I do not mean to interrupt, but it has been 4 hours since the washer finished its cycle. Do you like your clothes smelling like mildew? Because that is what is happening right now.
The original purpose of this automation was to keep our clothes from smelling like mildew, but ultimately it saves us money by reducing how many times we have to wash a load of laundry, because our washing machine uses 300 watts of power every time it runs a load. and based on current energy costs, means that running a load of laundry costs 3 cents every time, which isn't a lot of money, but it does add up over a year, especially if you're averaging 2 loads every week that you have to wash twice, which at one point wasn't all that uncommon. And if you did that for an entire year, that meant you just spent $3.12 on energy that you really didn't need to use. And while that represents a really small drop in the bucket in terms of energy, it does highlight a use case in which we can use our smart home to ensure that we're only using the energy that we need. And there it is. With those small additions of smart home tech, with some automations powered by Home Assistant, we could save almost $50 a year. And more importantly, reduce our energy usage. But this is really a drop in the bucket compared to what we could do if we joined forces. So now it's your turn to join the energy challenge. The first part of this you've probably already handled, perhaps without even realizing it, which is to use smart home tech to reduce your energy usage. It doesn't have to be big, it could be as simple as a few dollars a year. And it doesn't have to be complex, it could be just adding a motion sensor to your lights to reduce how long those lights are on. After that, the next step is heading to a web page that's been developed by If This Then That and filling out a small Google form. There's a link to that webpage in the description of this video and pinned in the comments. This form won't be used for any kind of marketing campaign. It's simply used to gather how much energy each of us are committing to saving using our smart home tech over the next year. If you can put a number to those savings, awesome. But if you can't, that's awesome as well. Either way, we can show the world how much we can save if we band together. Oh, and while you're on that form, make sure you choose SlackerLabs as the channel that sent you there. Doing that will enter you in a chance to win one of 10 If This Then That Pro licenses that will be given out to 10 randomly chosen members of the SlackerLabs audience. And if you want more ideas on how you could use smart home tech to save energy in your home, there are more than 20 of my fellow content creators on YouTube today taking part in this energy challenge. There'll be a link to that playlist in the description of this video, or you could just search YouTube for #EnergyChallenge. As always, thanks for taking time out of your home automation projects to watch mine, and to consider being part of the energy challenge. Until next time, go automate the boring stuff.